celebration is more prevalent in West Bengal. And then there's like a celebration of the first Rasa Leela that's more prevalent in Vrindavan area, and this festival is more prevalent in West Bengal, and that's pretty much all the information I have on that festival. I think on it says either for this festival or the previous festival, the devotees would often dressed in yellow clothing, and they would leave pots of kheer out at night for Krishna and the gopis, so they have nice snack. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So welcome everyone to our reading of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10. We are on the pastime of Muchukunda, deliverance of Muchukunda, chapter 51, text number 46. And reading the Sanskrit. Lavajano durlabam atramanusham kantanchit avyangam atnyanator angaha Padaravindam Nabajati Sanmatir Grihanda Kupe Patito Yatapashu. Matir. What does he have? Asan Matir. Matir means his mind, how he thinks. That person who has an impure mind. Asan Matir, Asat Matir, who despite having somehow or other automatically attained the rare and highly evolved human form of life, does not worship your lotus feet. You gotta have a very impure mind if you've attained a human form of life and you're not worshiping your lotus feet, like an animal who's fallen into a anda blind well, kupam. Such a person has fallen to the darkness of a material home. So blind well is, when you hear well, you might think of like a scene in the kind of European landscape, at a nice stone wall and some wood and a bucket that goes down. But this is the kind of wells that were often built in India, were just a hole, just a straight hole, straight down, without the rock wall. And if the person moved from that area, then grass would gradually grow over the hole, and basically you have a little trap there, a little death trap called a blind well. And so this term is used often. Purport. Our real home is the kingdom of God. Despite our tenacious determination to remain in our material home, death will rudely eject us from the theater of material affairs. To stay at home is not bad, nor is it bad to devote ourselves to our loved ones. But we must understand that our real home is eternal, the spiritual kingdom. That's one of the points of the beginning of chapter 15. The first 6 verses are talking about the uncomfortable situation of this world, and he gives the example, Urdvam mulam adha shakam ashyatam prahuravyam chandansiyasya parnaniyastam veda savedavid. So he gives this example of this banyan tree with roots that are growing upwards and downwards. It's basically like a reflection of a banyan tree, which already a banyan tree is confusing because the roots are down, but they're also coming down from the branches. So the whole tree that itself is quite a maze, is like how you would see it on the banks of a lake, the reflection of it. And so this banyan tree is compared to the material world, and the spiritual world is like that, the origin of that reflection. So the root, the trunk of the tree is Brahma, and then go beyond that is the spiritual understanding. And it's upside down. Prabhupada gave the example of if you ever been to Jamuna Jaya's class and you do a headstand, how long can you be there? How long can you sit or stand on your head comfortably? It becomes very uncomfortable. So the material world is an uncomfortable place. The word ayatnataha indicates that human life has been automatically awarded to us. We have not constructed our human bodies. Therefore, we should not foolishly claim this body is mine. The human form is a gift of God, and we should use that to achieve the perfection of God consciousness. One who does not understand this is asat mati, possessed of dull, mundane understanding. So this example of durlabha, very rare, very difficult to obtain, is given by Muchukunda. It's like he's a student of the Srimad Bhagavatam, because he's repeating much of the teachings of Prahlad Maharaj. So Prahlad Maharaj, he says, Kumar acharet tagyo dharman bhagavataniha durlabam manusham janma tadruvam artadham. I think I missed one word. So he says, Kumar. Everyone knows this word, Kumar. It's a young person, like say Raj Kumar, young prince. So Kumar Acharet. Kumar actually means starting from the age of 5 or so. Kumar. Kumar Acharet Pragyo. Achar means what you're doing, how you behave, how you're acting, and prachar is what you're speaking. And so the achar, what you're doing, is most important. Acharat pragyo, one who is smart, sufficiently intelligent. Kumar acharat pragyo dharman bhagavantan iha. In this life, they should practice this Bhagavat Dharma. Durlabam. Dur means difficult, labha means to obtain. Durlabam manusham janma, because birth as a human being is very difficult to obtain. 8,400,000 species of life, so many different species of life. And it takes going through all these lower species to finally get this human form of life. Durlabham, very difficult to obtain. Durlabham manusham janma. And although it is adruvam, dhruva is that pole star. It is fixed. It is has that, you put a stop motion camera to the sky pointed at the North Star, and you'll see that the entire cosmos is going around the pole star, and the pole star is fixed in our, it's the only thing in the sky that's not moving. It's basically fixed. It's not really moving. So it is, that's why it's called dhruva. It is this fixed position. But this human life is adruvam. It's not very, it's short-lived. We're called, we're always called, our place is called Martyaloka, the place of death. We live very short lives. So although it is adruvam, tad artadam, it can give the greatest arta, the greatest value. And so Prahlad is saying this, and then he also uses this word andakupam, this material entanglement. Just even a gentle life living at home with one's family. We might think Maya is, going out and going to the bars late at night in New York City. But that everyone's Maya is on a different level, but even on a very subtle level, just being at home and comfortable, or being in Honolulu, Hawaii, and enjoying the beautiful waves and the scenic environment can be like an andakupam. And so this example has been given that there was once a young prince, Another Raj Kumar, but this is maybe not a Kumar, a little bit older. He's a prince. He's riding on his horse, Raja Yovanam, or maybe he's riding on his horse, and then he's sitting on his horse with his arrow fixed on a deer. And he hears a great roar, or is it not a roar? Because what is the tiger sound? It's not exactly a roar. He does a chuff, but he does some kind of sound. He has his own particular call. And it frightens him. And the horse, not primarily, it frightens the horse, who kicks him off of his back. And he falls onto the forest floor. And his eyes lock with those golden embers, the eyes of the tiger. This Bengal tiger, what are those, like 1,000 pounds? A massive tiger, way bigger than a lion. And so he just starts running through the forest, trying to get away from this tiger. And he sees a clearing in the distance. He said, perhaps there's a home, some kind of shelter. And he doesn't find any shelter, and he sees like a tree, a banyan tree again, this banyan tree. And he's running and running, and all of a sudden, the earth falls underneath him. He's falling. Everything just turned black, and he's falling and falling. You ever pick up like a baby? Sometimes you pick them up, they just like feel like they're falling or something. They just start grabbing all around. And so he's falling, and he grabs on to the roots that are in the ground of this banyan tree. And he finds he's actually in an andakupam. He is in a blind well. And the well is empty on the bottom. On the bottom, there are scorpions and snakes. And he looks up. There's the tiger waiting for him. There's nothing he can do. He's holding on to these roots. And as he's holding on to the roots, he hears this chewing sound. And he sees that there are two rats at the root. One is chewing on one side, and the other one is chewing on the other side. And he tries to shake the root, but they're not disturbed by his little shaking. It's got some distance, so it's just not really doing anything to them. The white rat and the black rat. And but as he is there, he starts to notice something actually comes on his lip. Something drips on his lip. What is the delicious forest honey? Above his head is a beehive. And the honey is dripping. And so he starts to catch the honey with his mouth. And he's like, oh, this is great. So this is the illusion of the material world, is that we have day and night that is slowly taking our life, just taking our time away. Yet, as what is the question that was asked to Maharaj Yudhishthir? Often devotees give kind of a classical English translation of it, like an old English translation, which doesn't make sense to most people. You say, hey, what's the most wonderful thing in the world? What is the coolest thing? Oh, death is coming for you. But the translation more aptly would be, what is the most shocking thing? The most shocking thing. This is a question asked to Yudhishthir. Kim Ashcharyam, causing wonder, not wonderful. Like, yeah, I love that movie. It was wonderful. No, causing wonder, astonishment. What is the most Another word, the most amazing thing, but a cause of shock or amazement is that we see that our grandfather, our great grandfather, our great great grandfather, they're all entering to the jaws of death, but no one thinks, oh, this is going to happen to me. No one believes that we're in this world like the young prince chasing the honey, and the whole only way that we have any opportunity to get out of this situation is if there's somebody on the outside of the well that helps us. If it is not by our own mental vigor, as it's described in the Bhagavad Gita, even the intelligence of very wise men is swept away by this material desires. So, Andakupam, we actually have two verses. Let's read the second verse. I also want to say one thing about the rarity of this human birth. The Buddha gave the example, if you can imagine, a turtle that comes up for air every 100 years. And if you can imagine that he is in this giant ocean, and in the ocean there is a log floating, and and by chance, this turtle, when he's coming up for air for his 100-year breath, by chance, this log is floating by. And by chance, there's a hole in the log. And by chance, the turtle who's coming for his 100-year breath pops his head through the hole of that log. And by chance, there is a little toothpick balancing in that hole, or floating in that hole, and by chance the toothpick balances on his nose as he comes up for his 100-year breath. So this is describing the durlabham, very difficult to get, very difficult, very rare. So text number 47. Maisha kalo jitta nishpalo gato rajashri Yonada Madasya Bhupate Martyatma Bhuder Sutadhara Kosha Bhusha Asajamanasya Duranta Chintaya. Therefore I've wasted all this time, O unconquerable one, becoming more and more intoxicated by my domain, opulence as an earthly king, misidentifying Martya. What is this? Martya Atma, the mortal body as the self, being attached to children, wives, treasury, and land. I've suffered endless anxiety. Purport. In the previous verse, condemn those who misuse the valuable human form for mundane purposes. Muchakunda now admits that he himself falls into this category. He intelligently wants to take advantage of the Lord's association and become a pure devotee once and for all. And you find that many of these exalted personalities, they are pure devotees, but they express themselves in great humility. Today is the appearance day of Narottam Das Thakur, and we know he sang many songs in this same kind of mood. Previously, I gave a class last year on the pastimes of Narottam Das Thakur, so we won't go into the all of his pastimes, but we can speak about some of his songs. One of the most famous songs we all know. There are many songs we sing on a regular basis, but this is a song sung during kirtan, or sometimes sung in bhajans. It's actually what is also called the Mahamantra. Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan. As Lord Chaitanya is traveling through the forest of Jarikanda, he is chanting Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan. This is described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and this has been immortalized again in the songs of Narottam Das Thakur. where he has this song that it is about 10 lines, and we sing the first 5 lines in kirtan sometimes. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Then the Yadavaya, this is how he has in the song, Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha Gova Govindaram Shri Madhusudan Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan. What's the next line? What's the next? I'm going to like the 4th line. H.I. Goshai, Shri Rup Sananatan, Bhatta Raghunath,
Sri Jiva Gopala
Bala
Bhattata
Dasa
Saraguna.
Raghunath. And then there's the Bhagavad Gita one. What's that one?
Ichai Gosai Kori Charana Vandam
Okay,
Tasabha
I got a link here. Sri Chaitanya Nitya. Okay, we missed Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Sita Hare Guru Vaishnava Bhagavata Gita. Then yeah, and then H.I. Gosai Kori Sharanavadan Yaha Hote Bigan Nasha Abhishta Puran. So this is how one of the songs that we know that we hear often. But this concept of the I've wasted my life. Actually, one of Prabhupada's was said to be Prabhupada's favorite song. Hari Hari Vipale Janama Goainu. I have spent my life uselessly, willingly have drunk poison because I've obtained this rare human form of life, and I've not worshipped Radha and Krishna. So this is and this is actually the Dainya. This is the great humility of these great Vaishnavas. They feel like I've wasted. They're um, may perhaps be absorbed in the moods that of their previous conditioning, and seeing that previous conditioning, because even the exalted souls that have come to this world, that are actually liberated souls like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Prabhupada, you find that they even go through a transformation. Even Lord Chaitanya went for the transformation of being the stalwart, very described proud Brahmana. I like to do Krishna trivia. That's kind of Brahmanas like to ask trivia questions. That's one of the 64 arts. And so Lord Chaitanya would always ask so many difficult questions. He was but then he became, after meeting Ishvar Puri, became very, very humble, and became decorated with all the qualities of an exalted Vaishnava. So even the liberated souls go through this transformational stage. And so kind of a lamentation of how they felt, how they see themselves in their current state, is they feel like they're still in their previous state, even though these are great, great exalted devotees. This is Narottam Das Thakur has so many different songs like that, using the same things that you find in this. It's as if he's read the Srimad Bhagavatam, because it's talking about the dark well, talking about the difficulty to get a human body. And of course, we previous day, we had the appearance day of Lord Nityananda, and Narottam Das Thakur is the author of one of the most famous songs on Lord Nityananda, Nitai Pada Kamala Koti Chandra Shishutala. This is called Nityananda Nishta, a wonderful song. So Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita says, one who knows this material nature and knows that the Lord is transcendental to it, then he knows Krishna's spiritual nature. So here, the Muchikunda, he understands that material nature, it just brings anxiety. So we have anxiety, we want opulences, and then we get opulences, and then we have anxiety to keep those opulences. So it just produces anxiety. And so one who is, again, this word matir, in this Matirna Krishna, this one who is absorbed in material consciousness, they can't actually, Prahlad Maharaj is saying, they can't really take shelter of Krishna because it's quite inconvenient. Just like Prabhupada gives this example that some thieves, they successfully rob a bank. And so they have this wonderful bank robbing excursion, adventure. They had this wonderful adventure. They robbed the bank. Nowadays, in the past 20 years or so, we have a lot of movies where we celebrate the criminals and we're like, oh yeah, and we're rooting for them. Yes, rob, yes, steal, yes, yes. Entitlement, yes. Age of entitlement, not enlightenment. And so they rob the bank, and after they gather at their headquarters, and they're all glorious to the thieves. Thieves ki jai! And so they gather together and they're saying, okay, we just have one announcement, just one request. Now that we've robbed all this wealth, everyone, please, 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 Pediatra, please, please, let us divide this honestly. Please, let's divide this honestly. So it's convenient to deny God's existence. It's very inconvenient if you want to be materialist. And because everything is owned by God. What is this? Ishopanishad. Ishavasham Jagat Sarvam. Everything we see, animate and inanimate, is owned and controlled by the Lord. And we should only take that thing that is necessary for us, knowing well to whom it belongs to. We had this discussion on our sage groups about gambling. And someone was saying, well, I thought gambling was not good just because of the addictive nature. And we're talking about these four legs of religion. You have satyam, truthfulness. You have socham, cleanliness of the mind. You have purity. You have daya, compassion. And you have tapa, self-control and austerity. And this Simon Haas is a devotee, author of this Dharma book and also Yoga of the Dark Night of the Soul. He takes the 8 main parts of speech and you put those into 4 domains of experience, and those are actually related to the 4 legs of Dharma. So Satyam is related to the nouns and pronouns, the actual factual experience, so beingness. And then Socham is related to the not adjectives. What's the other one where you conjunctions where you no, actually I think it's adjectives where things are just the difference. What is the difference between different things? Something's fast, something's slow. And so that's related to the Socham. And then you have so the 8 parts of speech are divided into 4 sections. The next one is relation. That's the conjunctions. And that's related to ahimsa, how you relate together. And then austerity is related to action. How do you act? How do you activate yourself? Is it and so they relate the whole love is a verb. So you have why gambling is going against honesty? Well, in the basic way, you have like, okay, you're playing cards, you can't show your cards, you got to be a little dishonest. But it's also, there's a dishonesty in the sense of the Brahmana is a person who has 100% faith that if Krishna, God has put me on this world, if I just use my God-given gifts and put my honest heart endeavor, I'll get whatever I deserve. That is given to me. And Prabhupada says the Kshatriya, he has a little less faith, but he has his faith. I do my duty and I'll get whatever I deserve. The Vaishya, even less faith. But he still has his faith. I do what I'm supposed to do, and I'll get whatever I need. Just got to do what I'm supposed to do. And he says the Sudra has no faith. They need the security of somebody taking care of them. Um, Whereas the Vaishya, the Kshatriya, the Brahmana have a little bit of that independent spirit. They feel like I can do this, and I'll get whatever is due to me. I will be taken care of. Prabhupada gave the example of one of his god brothers who came from the family called the Nabi family. And he said it all started with one dead rat. It was a, a man who was asking his friend for some money to start a business. And his friend told him, hey, you're a Vaishya. There's money in the street. You see that rat? That is money. And it was true. The government was giving a little bit of change for anyone who brought a dead rat into the municipal office because of a plague situation. And, it was maybe the black plague that was spread through the fleas of the rat. And so he brought the rat in, got 2 annas, so some change. He used that to buy some old betel nut, washed it up, then sold it again. And then he made more and more money, more and more money. And as Prabhupada said, this godbrother's family, anybody who was born into the family, 5,000 rupees, which was a lot more back then, would be deposited into his account. And then he would take it out when he was an adult with all the interest. He said it was a very, very wealthy family. And so Prabhupada says this is the faith that one should do one's duty and everything will be supplied. He said previously the Vaishyas would go out at night because everyone needs a little kerosene. They would sell it. And in the morning, they would go and sell dal and lentils and such. So the dishonesty is like, let me get money that I do not deserve. So it's very convenient to deny exhaust. It's very inconvenient to have God being existing, but Mrityu sarvascha, God is always there. Time is always there. Time is what impels the modes of material nature. Time impels our karma. Time impels the elements into activity. And so God comes as time for everyone. We find that time never gets old. It's always there. And it's never like we open the Time magazine, it says, oh, time died, no more time. You don't have to, and things are not decaying. Things are not changing. We see everything is always decaying. We want to take care of a nice temple and building, but it's constant. Everything is in a constant state of decay. And so the Romans, they used to be taking over the entire world. The Colosseum, and they'd go to different lands and conquer barbarians. I know who was the barbarians. Everyone was kind of quite barbaric. So they conquer the barbarians, and because the rulers were wise, as they're coming into the city with all the pageantry, and people are screaming and yelling, and they're bringing all the new treasures that they've robbed from from another kingdom, another country. They would have somebody at the side of the king saying, "You're only mortal. This is all temporary." And so, what do we have now? We just have from the Romans. Where's the Roman kingdom? All we have is some pizza, some lasagna. Of course, we don't want to discredit them for that. That's still very valuable. So time is taking away everything. We find Hiranyakashipu. He tried and failed in his endeavor to conquer time. He stood on the tip of his toes, his hands in the air for 120 years of the demigods. And still there was no solution to conquer this time. And none of us, we find none of the people nowadays are intelligent as Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu is at least understood. Time is going to take away everything. So let me first deal with that issue. But still, we think, maybe I would take some spirulina. That's going to help me conquer time. Some little vitamin C, do some yoga, and then no one dies. All the healthy people, they all die. Everyone's goes away, And so this is the shocking thing that we see, that everywhere there's death, and we don't find that people are preparing for it, and it's a quite shocking scenario that we're going to be. It's like you're sitting in your a house, and you know that the landlord is going to kick you out, and you're making no preparations of where you're going to go. It's quite a shocking situation. So Muchukunda is speaking on this this issue, and let's see. We'll read this Hari Hari Vipale. Oh Lord Hari, I have spent my life uselessly obtaining this human form of birth, having not worshipped Radha Krishna. I've knowingly drunk poison. The treasure of divine love in Gokul Vrindavan is descended as the congregational chanting of Hari's names. Why did my attraction for chanting never come about? Day and night my heart burns from the fire poison of worldliness. And why have I not taken the cure? Lord Krishna, the son of the king of Vraja, became the son of Sachi, Lord Chaitanya, and Balaram became Nitai. The holy name has delivered all those souls who are lowly and wretched. The sinners, Jagai and Madai, are evidence of this. Lord Krishna, O son of Nanda, accompanied by the daughter Vrishabhanu, please be merciful to me now. Narottam Das says, O Lord, please do not push me away from your reddish lotus feet, for who is my beloved except you? So this is said to be one of the favorite songs of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So I'll stop here and see if there are any reflections, comments, or questions.
Thank you, Nityananda, Chandra. Wonderful class. So many helpful analogies. The turtle one is my favorite. Thank you. Bhakti is a very rare gift. Janitai Prabhu, Hare Krishna, good to see you. You have any reflections that you'd like to share? Unmute.
Hare Krishna, Nityananda, Chandra Prabhu. Thank you for amazingly realized, wonderful, ecstatic class. It is overwhelming. I love the pastimes of Srila Prabhupada and the different stories, the way you weaved everything together to make these powerful points, and including all of the different bhajans and kirtans. Beautiful voice. Just want to be with you on Harinam Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Amazing.
Hare Krishna. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, fantastic class. And one consoling thing about the humility of these Vaishnavas, they talk about their fallen condition, Narottam Das Thakur, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. You know, I've wasted my life, I'm very insignificant and I make so many mistakes and I'm a fallen soul. And the other component of their humility is, but Krishna is so wonderful that even though I'm so foolish, even though I'm so unqualified, undeserving, that Krishna is so kind and so wonderful that he's reaching out to me in my broken condition and uplifting me. So that one side of the humility is acknowledging our fallen condition, and the other side is to glorify Krishna. And in the Bhagavatam class, we try to glorify Krishna. How wonderful is Krishna that he doesn't neglect us. In Lord Nityananda's class the other day, Chuta Gopi was explaining that Lord Nityananda is forgiving. I'm sinful. I'm incomplete in my dedication to Krishna, but the Lord forgives our mistakes and continues to reach out to us and care for us. And that's so consoling. Anyway, small point. But thank you very much for the class. Very nice class. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
God.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Any further questions? Adam Guranga, good to see you.
Guranga.
Good G's. Come on. Reflect. Srimad Bhagavatam is questions and answers.
Prabhu, I really appreciate that you take time going and enunciating and singing the Sanskrit. It's nice to hear in the morning something to think about how many other people in history have heard these same things. And you do such a delightful job with your enunciation while you're singing. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thanks, Angela. Jeffrey
Don't
Eckler.
forget, all glories to the thieves.
Thieves. Please, can we divide this honestly?
Okay, should we hear from Jeffrey Eckler or Bhima Prabhu?
Yes.
Bhima Prabhu. Stop torturing the horse, come on.
Haribo, is my reception clear?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu, for a wonderful class. Is the word raconteur someone who tells great stories? Is that the correct word? Yes?
Raconteur, Prabhu? Yeah.
Raconteur, yes.
Yes.
Okay. So your class is always like that. There's always important lessons to be learned. And I was thinking today, I was reading the Bhagavatam early in the morning. I do it to help with my japa. You know, when my mind wants to run and do something other than repeat the holy name, as it will, I immediately set my eyes upon the Veda base online and just read randomly. And I was reading today about oh geez, forgot about what I was getting to. Anyways, what I want, something a little bit more along my line here, is that you know, this idea of preparing for death. When you're on a farm, because animals have a half life, a quarter life, or a fourth of a life. When you get down to the small ones like rabbits and stuff, we had rabbits, and you know, they can be gone within a year. And so you, oh well, there we go. We got the conch shell blowing. Maybe afterwards. Hare Krishna.
Jai Shishi Radha Muralidhar Ki Jai, Shri Guru Chandra Ki Jai, all the assembled devotees Ki Jai, Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai, all the devotees assembled on Zoom Ki Jai, Bhima Raconteur, Bhima the Raconteur, please come continue your beautifully worded statement.
Now I know you're lying, because when I listen on YouTube sometimes, I see that I'm always all over the place as per the constitution of my mind. But anyways, which is why I run to the Bhagavatam or the Bhagavad Gita while I'm chanting in order to keep things straight. What I was saying was that that you see death all around. A simple walk in the woods, you see trees that are standing, trees that are young, and trees that are old and dying and decomposing into the ground. So this preparing for death, it is wondrous that every time something happens, they say no. Every man is a philosopher at a funeral, and if you start paying attention, and even in New York City, of course, at any moment, just a step off the sidewalk. So we find it. Why does Prabhupada ask us why does Krishna ask us to always remember and never forget Krishna? And of course, to chant, always be chanting. And Prabhupada saying the problem with Westerners is that we're not afraid of Maya. And also a problem with Westerners is that we take our dead and dying and we put them away out of sight. We in India, when somebody is cremated, the cremation grounds, you're aware. That's why there's such a spiritual culture over there. You're aware that death is always there, is always, and not in a bad way for a devotee, but Mahamaya, she's always there, ready to take you away, become Yoga Maya, like a mother cat, and take you away back to Krishna. But in America, we tend to hide away. We think that the pharmaceutical companies or the government is going to protect us, or the laws of man is going to protect us. But when you get out in the countryside, you see that there's absolutely no protection, and that we're on this river, and the current will take you. And pretty soon, you won't have a chance to prepare. So I did have a question, Prabhu. You mentioned about Brahmins, the difference between Brahmins and Sudras and Vaishyas, and the status of their independence. But Lord Chaitanya says that I'm not a Brahmin, Kshatriya, Sudra. I'm not a man or a woman, basically. So how can we reconcile these two issues? We're constantly being, especially in the Bhagavatam, time and circumstance being written, Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Sudras, this guy did this, and this one offended that, and this one had these duties, but this one, usurped the duties of another ashram, varna. But at the same time, you have Lord Chaitanya, who just sort of said, I'm not any of these. So could you, for the sake of all of us, reconcile these two differing viewpoints? Hare Krishna.
Is that question for Nitai Chand?
Is he still around?
He left.
Okay, so who's still on?
I guess
who didn't
you.
I chase away?
I thought on that. Internally, that's the mood. I'm not the Brahmana or a Vaishya. That's more internal. But while we still have duties to this world, and while we're not pure entirely, we have to externally adopt a certain duty, certain style of duty. You can't wear a skirt, Bhima Prabhu. It's just, don't renounce prematurely. Externally, you have to wear pants.
I can. It's called a tartan, Prabhu. I'm Scottish, and yes, I can wear a skirt.
All right, that's just you. But yeah, that I hope. Jeffrey Eckler, am I making sense? I need a backup here.
Prabhu, I was thinking that very much like you have a person has a job, and you go to your job and you do your duty at your job, but you are not, like, at your essence, an accountant. So just like we have our duty within the ashram, that we find ourselves, we may materially identify with those responsibilities and duties, but at the end of the movie, we recognize that temporary commitment to that ashram is not a defining factor in our personhood. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can't come up to your wife and say, I'm gonna cheat on you because I'm not your husband. It doesn't work like that. Externally, we should be very committed, but internally, we should understand that our shelter is with Krishna, not with this paycheck or with this insurance policy. It's all external. Internally, the mood is like Bhima Prabhu described wonderfully. I'm none of that. Adipusha Prabhu, do you have an objection, or you talking?
That paycheck be the mercy of Krishna?
Yeah, paycheck is the mercy of Krishna. That's right. We can settle at that. Adipusha Prabhu, you have anything to say in that regard? Who are you? Are you a Brahmana or Kshatriya? Servant of the servant of the servant. I'm reading Adipusha Prabhu's lips. Hold it. Ask to unmute. Let's do it.
I'm
Go
your
ahead.
servant.
He is our servant. That's right. That's our identity. We are your servants. Dasosmi, as Srila Prabhupada's guru said, Dasosmi, I'm your servant. He would say hello like that. Dasosmi, how can I serve you? What's my duty to you? If I see an ant or a person, our thinking should be, what's my duty? How can I share bhakti? How can I engage in devotional service in relation to this jiva that I'm dealing with? With this jiva, Jeffrey Eckler Prabhu, beautiful jiva. I have a confession. I went to see Pantera yesterday, and do you think Krishna can forgive me for that? Bhima is watching to the
anyone with any musical taste can't forgive you. Okay, Prabhu. All right. Of all the things to fall down into,
yeah,
it's not even a good place.
yeah. It was rough. It was rough.
Well, you get to see like a Patalaloka, like the entertainment in Patalaloka. So you're kind of getting used to it. You're kind of like, conditioning yourself for the entertainment you will find in Patalaloka.
That's right. I was trying to remember Krishna. The guy was smoking next to me. They were smoking weed. They were throwing bottles. And the song was, I'm broken. I'm broken. And I was thinking of this Akinchana Gocharam verse where in order to see Krishna sincerely and take shelter of Krishna, we need to be materially exhausted. Akinchana Gocharam. We need to be materially broken. I was trying to make a connection somehow or other. Was what the hell am I doing here? Why did I do that? So
My heart took this in a very different way. I remember the story of when Prabhupada went out to San Francisco and he did kirtan at a rock concert. So obviously it's fine that you go, you keep yourself in the right mental space, the right spiritual space, enjoy yourself and share this love that we have. That's where my brain went from hearing, oh, a devotee at a rock concert.
thank you, Angel, for encouraging me. Thank you very much. I feel redeemed. I feel I confessed and I got redeemed. Okay, we love you. We need you on a daily basis. You are our lifeline. As Devotees Association is what we take shelter of. Thank you very much for that. Hare Krishna, have a wonderful day. Happy Friday. We're all going to die, but we think of death in a very positive way. In a very positive way. We're going to celebrate it like Bhima Prabhu has instructed. We're not going to hide from it. We're going to celebrate and give prasadam. We'll be all right.